Hey everybody, it's Paul from the Pits Vintage, and today I'm going to walk you through how I clean and waterproof leather. In particular, today we'll be looking at a pair of leather boots. I've had these boots for a long time and they came waterproof, but over time they lost their waterproofing. And as you can see, there's a fair share of water damage and dirt and dust, and they definitely need to clean and to be waterproofed. And then a quick look at what we'll be using today. First off, we have our leather cleaner, which is Leather Honey. They are, I think, probably the best leather cleaner on the market. Next, we have cotton rag to apply the leather cleaner. This is just from an old cotton t-shirt, but you could use cotton socks, cotton boxers, anything you got. Cotton's nice just because it doesn't leave behind a lot of fluff. Then we have a horsehair brush. This is from Kiwi, but any brush will do. And this just helps get off a lot of the dirt and larger stuff. And then next we have our mink oil. So I use mink oil for all of my waterproofing. I like the way it looks and I like the way it works. It makes the boots almost 100% waterproof. Then we have some Q-tip cotton swabs. These just help get into some of the more hard to reach places. And then finally, you have the leather product that you want to clean and waterproof. Again, today we'll be waterproofing some boots. As we're getting into the winter season, you get a lot of, slush and salty, nasty, wet. So it's a good time to start waterproofing some of your leather goods. So one, you can wear them, and two, you don't have to worry about them. Let's jump into it. So just taking a quick look at the boots, these are a pair of Echo boots that I have had for a very long time, and I've worn them a lot. I love the boots, but they, as you can see, have gotten quite dirty over the past few months since the last time I cleaned them. So first things first, you're gonna wanna remove the laces. These just get them out of the way, and then allows you to get into the tongue and some of the spots that are kind of covered up where a lot of dirt and grime can gather. So our next step is to grab the horsehair brush and just start working it along the leather, along the boots, or again, whatever you're cleaning. And this, again, just kind of helps get off a lot of the, bigger dirt particles, anything, the dust and stuff sitting on top. Already you can see it's getting a lot of that stuff off. It's already looking a lot better just from this. But yeah, just move it around, trying to get anything that you see. And then, again, you're going to want to focus in here in the tongue and get all that stuff out. Yeah, so I'll just keep working at this until, anything that you can see with your eye is off, and then we'll get into the leather cleaning. All right, so I just finished up with the brushing and I cleaned off my workspace, but as you can see, it's already looking a lot better. All of that white stuff was able to get brushed off. But you can still see here, there's some areas of water damage, some staining. And so this is what the leather cleaner is gonna help clean up. You can also see it's still very scuffed up. Again, I use Leather Honey. I'm sure there are other ones on the market, but I've always had luck with this, so I've stuck with it. And now this is a concentrated solution. So you follow the directions on the back and you dilute it with water. So I've already made up a little diluted mixture. So this is as simple as grabbing some cotton rags. Again, this is from an old t-shirt. And you just dip it into your solution, make sure it's nice and mixed up, and just start applying it to your boots. And so, again, being gentle, you don't want to soak the boots, you don't want to totally drown them in this stuff, but you want to, apply enough that you're getting off some of that dirt and grime. And if this was a white piece of cotton, you'd be able to see a lot of that dirt start coming off. And just work it through the entire boot, trying to get everywhere. Since you can see, it makes the boot darker, so you can see where you've gotten and where you haven't gotten. And this boot in particular has a lot of creases and a lot of places that it's been sewn together, a lot of paneling. So I need to be sure to get right into all of those little nooks when I'm doing this, because I want to get it all cleaned. And so, yeah, that's the gist of it. And you just work your way around the entire boot and making sure you get it all. Now you're going to want to take your boot and make sure it is dry. So you want to let it dry for a couple hours. If it's a nice sunny day, you can either put it outside or find a spot in your house that gets a lot of sun and let it sit in the sun for a while. Not only will this help dry the boot out faster, but it will actually warm the boot up, which will make our next step a lot easier. So we've given the boot plenty of time to dry. You can feel it. And again, looking at it, you can see that those watermarks and some of those stains are gone, which is great, but it's still, scuffed up along the toe and still worn. And again, the second this gets wet, it will water stain again. So we want to waterproof it. Now, I use mink oil, as I said before. I think it's easy to use and it makes a good end product. Also, it smells quite nice. And so the way that I go about it, you can use a rag, but I like just using my hands. So you want to take a finger, run it through, and get a good dollop, for lack of a better term. Place it into the palm of your other hand and start rubbing your hands together. And so the heat and the friction from your hands will melt the oil. And you can see my hands are nice and oiled up now. And then you can just start applying it to your boots. So just rubbing your hands along the boots, along the leather. And again, you can see it get, first off, shiny, but also darker. I know my lighting's not the best, but it makes the boot quite a bit darker. So that's another thing to keep in mind before you go through with this, is it will alter the look of the boot. I personally like a darker boot, but I know not everybody does. So that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind if you're thinking about waterproofing your boots. So I've gotten most of the boot covered. Again, you can see it's a lot darker than when we began. It's also a little shinier. So the boot, especially really dry boots, are, people say, thirsty. So it will actually absorb this oil into the leather. And some of that shine will go away. And then obviously as you wear it, the shine will go away. Now we're going to get into some of the spots that are kind of hard to reach with your fingers, particularly on this boot here, where the laces are, kind of along the toe cap where these stitching is. So the best way I've found to do this is to take a small bit of oil and just using your finger, just make kind of a little puddle almost on your palm. Then taking a Q-tip, scoop up that oil, if you can see it there. And then you can take that Q-tip and just get that oil right into those spots that are hard to reach. All right, so really there you have it. I mean, this is kind of the end product. Again, the entirety of the boot has been covered in this mink oil, and you want to give it 30 minutes to an hour for that oil to really set in there. And then if you want, you can come with a clean cotton cloth and wipe off any excess. But I find that the leather usually absorbs it all, and anything that's left over kind of gets rubbed in over time and adds to the waterproofing. So yeah, I'll check back in on these in about 30 minutes to an hour, and that is that. All right, so there you have it. That is how I clean and waterproof my leather. Again, just looking at these two, I think most people would agree that this one looks a whole lot better than this one. This was a pretty extreme case. Again, these had gotten pretty wet, pretty dirty, and then I let them sit for a long time. But even from this extreme dirtiness, they're able to look pretty good. Again, I personally really like the way that these look with the darker color, and it takes out a lot of those scuffs and discoloration and gives you a nice uniform dark boot. Using leather cleaner, horsehair brush, and mink oil, you can turn a boot from this into this. and it'll last you all through winter and into the spring, and plenty of snowstorms and rainstorms and everything in between. So thank you again, and have a good one.